Hi, and thank you for watching Targeted West. This is DJ Chris, your host. We have a website, TargetedWest.com. You can find out all sorts of information about me and Targeted West and what we do. We're a peaceful work group that gets together every Sunday to talk about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And we have a guest tonight. It's show number 194. Today is the 4th of January 2026. The temperature here in Lodi is 55 degrees, and we have a guest that, of course, is well known to us, Kimberly Mosby, and she's with us tonight. Hello, Kimberly. How are you?
Hello, DJ Chris. I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I can't complain. Glad to have you back. You were here before for an earlier call, and I'm glad to have you back again to talk about your work. You probably got newer things to talk about since last time.
Yeah, I'm honored to be here again with you to share your space. I have just been doing my podcast. I've had my scans done by Jesse Beltran, which was interesting. I was interviewed for the documentary that he's doing on being implanted with foreign bodies without consent. And so, yeah, it's been an interesting ride for 2025. I hope that 2026 brings relief to the targeted individual and targeted survivor community.
I agree. Also, you did get a scan. That's good. Um, and that went well for you. I'm glad. And then you got evidence you can use down the road. Um, I've never been scanned. I believe they got my brain waves through DNA through my garbage can out front or something, or just picked it up at the time when they were scanning my house. But I could be chipped too. I don't know. I'll have to find out.
I
So,
think,
how long again, for the audience, how long have you been targeted now?
well, I first realized it in 2023. April 25th of 2023 to have the exact date. But then once you realize you're targeted and you start doing all of this research, you can definitely go back and document and link some of the past events to the point that you realized that you've been targeted. I hope that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go back to your life and realize, like in mine, my dad was a Freemason, and I didn't know until he got dementia, and I guess I had been targeted my entire life. Maybe I know he was because he heard voices and was talking to somebody. I used to watch him in the 70s.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think what another friend of mine who is a TI, Sherry, she picked me up at the airport and we went and had the scans done together. We both just recently got our scans back that were done October 25th. And I have two that are corrosive. And she indicated to me that those were probably implanted at birth. So I have 17 foreign bodies. So I'm thinking the two that are corrosive is what she said, that was probably at birth. So there is a 99.9% chance that all of us have been implanted since that time, since this technology is so old, and that they were using us as guinea pigs at birth.
Yeah, I know somebody in my household who had an implant put in their tooth back in '74. So,
Yep. Yep.
So you got your scanning done, and you're ready to go, and you've got a podcast going, and your book sales have been well, and you've got a popular book that everybody talks about, and it's been picked as Bookend 2025's winner for our book club, and your book was number one in the book club for the year.
Wow, wow, I'm honored. It was literally me documenting everything that was happening to me in a diary form. And so I'm glad that so many people could relate to it, that they could understand what was happening to me, and hopefully were able to relate to it as well. So I'm honored. I thank you. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. That goes by their algorithm. They picked it out on their own. I didn't have anything to do with it. You won because of the most activity, because people believed in you and read your book, and you got a 9 too, so out of 10, so that's pretty darn good.
That is pretty
But
darn good. I'm
yes,
great.
you are you. Yeah, Janet Phelan won also, and the lady that I can't recall her name, but she's an actress. Oh, Anne Heche, Call Me Crazy, also won. And that was a book she wrote before she was killed because she was trying to expose child pornography and uh, child trafficking. And right before she had that happen, she exposed it. She got killed.
I really wish that they would stop doing that. Um, Sometimes it's really hard to keep hope when you see all of this evil activity going on in the world. And I try not to give any emotion to it because I don't want them to have me on the internet of everything, everywhere, taking up my bio data, seeing what will make me upset, seeing what will make me angry, and I try not to react as much as I can. But it's just a shame that they are doing that to people that can help expose this stuff. So I'm sorry that she isn't here with us anymore.
Yeah, it's too bad, but we move on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Your book is in our book club right now this week, so everybody's reading if they haven't. We have 222 members in the book club now, so it's pretty active, and we hope that if you write another book, you'll share it with us again. Are you planning on any more books?
Oh, I probably will because a lot of stuff happened after that case was dismissed to where I'm at today. So I will probably do it in another diary format, so that you can see past the time the case was dismissed to where I'm at today, doing my podcast, being a targeted survivor, changing my citizenship status to being an American state national, because we've been lied to, and I don't know how many people know that. I've literally had to re-educate myself that we were stolen at birth, from the birth certificate fraud, because if you look at your birth certificate, all your birth certificate is in capital letters. Your Social Security card is in all capital letters, which is maritime law. And so what they did for this scheme is they basically made us a straw man at birth, and then they traded us on the stock market like a commodity and earned money off of us. And so I don't know if anybody of you know what an American state national is, but that was the only thing that has reduced my targeting, is to switch my status, because one, I took back my straw man name, which is in all capital letters. Two, I took back my DNA. I had to record my paperwork in Alaska. Pima County will allow you to record it. And then I finally got in touch with the Texas State coordinator with the Texas Assembly here to record my stuff with the Land Recorder's Office. And since I've done that, my gang stalking, my V2K, my subliminal auditory effect, all of those have been reduced drastically. So if any of you want to do that, you can go to the 528hertz.com and change your status for free. But it is a process, and I had to really concentrate to get through the process, to get my 2 witnesses that could identify myself, and but in all, it was worth it, because now I'm pretty much left alone. Like, I don't get mobbed when I go to the grocery store anymore. You know how they like to, if you go to the grocery store and you're going to look for one thing and all of a sudden all these carts happen to be in the same place that you're at.
Yeah, I've had a lot of things happen, but most of my stuff is V2K oriented, and then they would make me miserable while I'm shopping.
Yep, it's all planned. I had one of my other friends, her name is Tiffany. She's living in Pennsylvania, where she's being tortured too, and all her stuff's being hacked. She's a new TI. But interestingly enough, she sent me this PDF written by a pastor on the systematic ways to go about gang stalking victims. So I'm going to email that to you, and hopefully you can share it with your guests, because it was really interesting. Like, this stuff is evil. It's not.
It is evil, and the chat room wants to know about that 528hertz.com. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
528hertz.com.
Yeah, here, I'll send it to you.
Will you share that in the chat room? Yeah, if you can share that in the chat room, that'd be great.
So the thing is that we're a global community. We are to love one another. We are to be prosperous. And there's your global family prepaid prosperity system. So the thing that people don't understand is that they switched the so when people say we live in a parallel universe, we actually do live in a parallel universe. We live in the maritime one that was created by the crown to make us debtors, and then we have our sovereign selves as living men and living women who are actually the creditors. So we don't actually owe anybody money. We can actually draw from the system which we inherited, which is backed by silver and gold, which was stolen. Like, if you go back to the 1930s, and do you remember how they were telling everybody that they needed to turn in their silver coins for a Federal Reserve note, an FDR? That was not equal exchange, because the Federal Reserve notes, which are the dollar bills that we know today, are actually debt notes. They're like an IOU. And they literally lied to us about everything. And so that's been my journey. So I will write a second book. I should probably start working on that now, just taking me from the time that the lawsuit was dropped to get me institutionalized to my journey through becoming an American state national.
Got you. And with your new you've also shed some family members too, so your holiday was a little different this year?
Well, I spent the holiday with me, myself, and I. What a better way to spend it. Right?
Nothing beats that. Yeah, I have my little family I'm with, so I'm good.
Aw.
And you got your cats. Your cats are important. They like to be with you on Christmas.
Yeah, I actually went to the ocean because I was like, if I'm going to spread my love to anyone, it's going to be Gaia, Mother Earth, and the universe. So I might as well give a whole lot of love out for people, and send blessings. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I went to the house and we had a meal there and visited with Granny for a while and then came back to the RV.
I think that sounds wonderful. We should all be like grateful for what we have, and I know a lot of TIs and TSs probably had a similar situation that I did, but one day we'll all be a community again. I have no doubt.
Yes, and I know a lot of people. Uh, people are literally needing to get together for sure.
I agree. One gentleman that I spoke to, he's in his 30s. He has a wife and a 3 and 1-year-old child, and he's been targeted and is trying to ask me how I could help him tell his family that he's been targeted, because a lot of people don't see it if they're not completely aware of their surroundings. So I gave him a bunch of resources, including the website, tievents.org, and I hope that he can find the help that he needs. But ultimately, he said to me, how do you start trusting people in order to create a community? And I was like, it's just that. You have to. Like, I have trusted people who ended up showing their true colors and bad-mouthing me to other people, which I will never do that. I don't think it's appropriate. And so if you see that, then you can just cut it out, because that's not what this is supposed to be. We're supposed to be supporting each other. And I know with the V2K it can get complicated. I know with the sensitivity noise campaigns, it can get difficult. With the AI chatterbots, obviously, which is now controlling the V2K, it can be difficult. But just try to shut that noise down and just find your heart. And I think if you find your heart, it will intuitively tell you yay or nay. I don't know.
That's true. That is true. Your heart is what tells you the truth and what to follow, and you get part of your intuition. And of course, they manipulate that in every way possible. So you really have to know yourself really well to be able to get by.
1,000,000,000%, DJ Chris. You're like, was that my thought that came into my head, or was that something else? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Your book, and you got your podcast. Any interesting people signed up for 2026 on your podcast?
So my Unveiling Shadows podcast has had some interesting guests. So I'm interviewing a gentleman tomorrow. His name is Tony. He emailed me earlier because, as you know, they will try to harass you either electronically or via noise campaign or the V2K, not to come on to share your stories because they don't want us to have that credibility. And so he sent me an email just before saying they might do that. And I said, just stay strong, we'll get through it, and they'll let us have the podcast. And so I have him tomorrow. I have Sherry Molnack's on Tuesday, and we're going to review her scans. And I reviewed one other lady's scans from Jessie Beltran, but that was at the end of December. The podcast hasn't been released yet. And she also had a hair toxicity report that we reviewed, which was quite interesting, because her arsenic and her aluminum were like way unhealthy, off the charts. Yeah.
That's interesting. So she's being poisoned also in addition to having her family's businesses manipulated. Yeah, I know Sherry. That's incredibly terrible to have happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Michelle was the one who had the hair toxicity one. Sherry and I will just review her scans. But the interesting thing about Sherry's scans, I had 17 foreign bodies that were all of high frequency, and then Sherry had 12 of high frequency, and then 11 more of low frequency, which means she's got 23. I think 23 different high and low frequencies coming off of her body. So hers will be interesting to go over on Tuesday.
Yeah, and you'll be posting that on YouTube. Someone want to know where your podcast is, and you're on YouTube mostly?
Yeah, YouTube, the Apple, Spotify. It should be on Rumble as well, but YouTube, I think, gets the most views.
Yeah, I get most activity there, but I'm on Rumble and Spotify and BitChute.
Yeah,
but BitChute doesn't work half the time. They're always messing with it. X or Twitter will get mad and not accept videos from them every once in a while. So that's why I got backups.
Yeah, we have to have backups. Yeah, the Odyssey one is interesting. I should think about that one.
Yeah, Odyssey, I don't go on there. Odyssey, that's an interesting one I should check out. Yeah. Thank you, Caller 00, for that.
Yeah, she did the Sabrina Wallace, which is the one that I was speaking about. Sabrina Wallace recently did a video of how her Synergy channel is for how all of this networks together. And she was speaking directly to the TI community and said that there are other platforms in order for you targeted individuals or targeted survivors to come on to help you heal. And talking about it is part of the healing process, which is what she wants you to do. So I urge you, if you want to be on my podcast, just email me at info@unveilingshadows.com, and we can schedule a time to get you on to the podcast so that you can start your healing process. Also, writing is a great healing process. Like the woman that passed away, and her book was called Call Me Crazy. That's a beautiful title, because how many of us have been called crazy, paranoid delusional, schizophrenic? All of these labels had a defamation of character, and then none of this ends up being true. Like, we know that it's not, but obviously the community that's planning all of this, it's very highly coordinated to discredit the individual. So
it is. They label you with a diagnosis and figure you're done with and no one's going to listen to you again, which in a way kind of works, but it backfires because they label so many people poorly that no one really believes any diagnosis anymore. And you can usually explain yourself out of anything like that.
Yep, agreed. And psychology system was basically invented by Sigmund Freud to discount people. I mean, there is a book out there about a lady who spent like 50 years in a mental institution because her husband didn't want her anymore. He wanted to move on to another lady, and so he called her mentally ill, and they ended up institutionalizing her for that long, and she ended up writing a book about it. Or her daughter did, or someone, I don't remember.
That's wild. I read a book in our book club about a guy who had a medical emergency where he was working in his yard and he got some sort of hernia. So he went to the hospital and was in extreme pain, and they ended up putting him in a mental hospital. And he wrote a book about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you get through part of the trauma of being. It's a trauma-based mind control program. So if you can get through some of the trauma to come out from being a targeted individual to a targeted survivor, that's what you need to do. I can't speak enough about that. Like, writing is very therapeutic, and I feel bad for that guy because there are a lot of people out there that didn't get the opportunity to write about it.
Yeah. His wife even was a part of it against him. It was crazy. All over having a problem with his body over an injury while planting a orange tree or something. Wild, huh?
Yeah. Wild and evil and psychopathic, because a lot of people that invented this are psychopaths, except maybe for the exception of Dr. Robert Duncan, who is no longer with us. I'm hoping he's in protective custody as a whistleblower, but I don't know. They like to take out people that will have, like, that invented the voice of God, aka V2K, and I hope he's still alive.
Yeah, someone was saying that the other day, that he's possibly still alive. I'm not quite sure about that, but we'll see. His work is definitely still alive, that's for sure.
Right?
Yeah. So let's see, what else would you like to talk about before we go to open session with questions from the audience?
I would just say look into the American State National stuff, because we have an abundance of wealth that hasn't been disclosed to us yet. And once they open up those prosperity accounts, we'll have access to gold-backed currencies. And so if you want to look up a YouTube station or series, it's called You Know Something Is Wrong When. And it talks about our government history, how the country was hijacked by the people that we hired to be contractors, and they obviously need to be fired. So You Know Something Is Wrong When, by Anna Von Reitz. And if you watch that, it's like a 23 series on the channel, but they're only about 15 to 23 minutes long. And so I think people should watch that to look at. We already know the government lies to us, but you don't know that your country has been hijacked from you because you were born into the system of slavery. They want us to work, they want us to pay taxes, which is illegal, it's usury, and we don't even have to pay property taxes. We don't even have to pay income taxes. And nobody knows that because you were born into the system that says that you have to work all of this, and then you have to pay all of this back to support our money going to other countries. And for what reason? If they can't aid their own country and they can't aid housing 9 million homeless people, which is what we have in the United States, then why would they be sending money to other countries with U.S. aid if they're not even helping the homeless people, which, by the way, are mostly veterans? And they like to experiment on those people first to create and make them homeless. So it's a shame.
And I think a lot of target individuals end up homeless too. So a lot of those people on the street are TIs.
Yeah. 9 million homeless in the United States. And so
I didn't know it was that high. That's wild. That's my main thing. Every day I watch the news and I go, there's nothing about the homeless people. Nobody does a thing. Never.
No. Not even our contracted government, which is fake because Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, is owned by the Crown, which is British territory, which is maritime law territory. So I literally have spent the last probably 4 months re-educating myself and realizing how much we've been lied to and how much and how wealthy we are and how vast our estates are. These are the same contractors that killed Patton. Yeah.
That's interesting. We're getting some comments here in the chat room, of course. Someone said, unfortunately, you can't heal much while being tortured daily with disabling do attacks. That's true. There are some things you can do to help yourself even while you're being attacked by those, especially mentally, and bringing back your fortitude and your ability to be strong and be a survivor. At the same time, makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you a stronger warrior, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm going to put this in the chat. But like I said, my targeting went down, my directed energy attacks went down once I changed my status. So I just put the YouTube, you know something is wrong when, so that everybody can start educating themselves. I already knew a lot of some of the stuff because I owned 2 real estate title companies, and so I was very familiar with the banking system and the Federal Reserve and how it's basically bankrupt right now. Like our dollar is worthless, you know? It's time for us to take our country back.
It is true. Well, great. Some people say it's illegal, of course, not to pay taxes, but there's ways around it, of course.
So, yeah, because they're optional. They don't tell you that they're optional. They lie to you, and you've been born into this parallel system where you think you're going to get arrested for not paying them when literally they're illegal.
Yeah, they'll just garnish your wages like they did with me. Yeah, I know how they operate. Yeah,
right,
so I have to pay them. Unfortunately, I have to pay them or else they go after me. But, yeah, it is a different thing to have that opinion, and some people don't agree, but I agree with you. If there's any way you can reduce your targeting, then this is the way to do it. Have you had anybody else join it and become a part of it?
Yeah, so Sarah Martinez with the Vine Sisters is changing her status. And that's after James Martinez sent me the Clone Act to record. And I sent that to the Texas Assembly state recorder here, and then when I sent that to her, she's like, we want you to be part of the Assembly's litigation team, because I don't think they've ever seen that document before. But when James Martinez sent it to me, he said, Kim, this isn't the only paperwork that you need to file. And I knew that he was an American state national by his signature and his copyright after his name. So the only way that you can get around them from garnishing your stuff is by changing your status and knowing who you are as a living man and myself as a living woman, because they set you up with all this letters and documentation to send to the IRS. You don't have to pay property tax, so you send it into your tax assessor's district, like all of these things, because they don't want you guys to know, because what you're doing is funding their fraudulent system by feeding into it. And once we stop feeding into their system, then those billions of dollars that are going to other countries stop. Like, they stop immediately.
That's incredible. Are you ready to ask some questions or answer some questions from our audience?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have 63 people right now, so I'm sure they'll have a question or two.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hi, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Regina. Come on in for Kimberly Mosby.
Yes. I do not have a passport, and I would like to change my status. Do you suggest I wait to get a passport until I change my status, or should I do that first?
No. Do your recording to change your status to become an American state national, and then they will tell you how to fill out the paperwork. That's my next one of my next steps, to get a passport where I'm a U.S. non-citizen. So what that means is that I'm not the United States incorporated citizen. I'm of the Republic of the United States. See how they change things and they make LLCs for their fake government? Because right now we have U.S. Government Incorporated, which is the contractor that we hired as we the people to take care of business, and they're not doing what they should. So yes, file your paperwork for free on that 528 Global Family, and then once you hook up with your state coordinator, which you can find on, I'll put this in here too because you guys are going to need it.
Thank you, Regina. Next question for Kimberly Mosby.
Okay, so the American State Assembly, you guys can go on here and find out who your coordinator is for each state. And then once you start to change your status, you'll find your recording secretary with this, the American State Nationals, and then, yeah, see, the American State Assembly, and then you can coordinate with them, and then they'll get your paperwork recorded and give you some guidance.
Gotcha. Any questions for Kimberly? Come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
I haven't heard the whole thing, so I missed a lot of this. Can we still have a home and apply for this? Because if you're
Absolutely.
not okay.
Well, so what I did is I bought a cheap little condo because I had to be very strategic in getting out of the targeting program because I knew they were trying to obviously make me homeless. So when you change your status, they will give you documentation to record with the county recorder's office where your home is to be a homestead so that they can't touch it. Like literally I've had to relearn for 6 months on how to protect myself. So I've challenged the tax assessor's office twice, and I haven't received a tax notice since then. Like, they haven't even bothered to mail me a tax notice. And I think in Texas, I think they pay quarterly or bi-yearly. But when I challenged them the second time with the letter templates that are provided to you, when you start changing your status, they will give you those letter templates, and then you just change out where you need to put your information in, and then you send it off, and then you go get it recorded. So you're basically claiming back your land rights with your home. I hope that makes sense.
You said 528hertz.com?
So it is called, let's see, where did I put that?
I'm not in the chat. So.
It's in the chat. It should be 528 Global Family. Okay. Here, I'll put it in there again because I don't see it.
I'm not on the chat. Global Family. Did you say Pima? Did I hear you say Pima County? Do you live in Arizona?
Yeah. So the first place that I recorded my documents to bring me back to the land and soil was with Anchorage, Alaska, but that was quite pricey. It was like $300. Then I sent everything into Pima County and included the Clone Act from James Martinez, and they only charged me $30. And then I had to put a return, obviously, priority mail with the package so they could return my recorded docs. And then the third place that I recorded was with the Land Recorder's Office. And that's where your state assembly state coordinator is going to help you fill out all those documents and then get them recorded with the Land Recorder's Office. So I have mine recorded in 3 places. So,
you live in Pima? Because I live in Pima County. That's why it grabbed my attention.
Yeah, so I don't live in Pima County, but here's the thing. I tried to record the documents in Cameron County, Texas. They refused me to record the documents, which is against my 14th Amendment right to have them deny me since they're a public office. Pima County got sued at one point because they allowed one person to do it and they didn't allow another person to do it. So now they know that when people send those recording docs to change your status, that they absolutely have to record them. So, and that's only for $30. And I sent them probably, I don't know, 100 pages almost to record, and they did it for $30 and then sent the package back to me with my obviously prepaid priority mail. So I'm going to give you this website. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's https://global/528.com.
528.com, okay.
Yep. And so I don't know if viewers are aware, if you know what 528 stands for. 528 is the hertz for love. So 528 hertz is the love hertz, which is why they named it global528.com. Because as you guys know, we as TIs and TSs, it's a global agenda. And we have to take this earthly realm back for all of the sovereign people. Because the elites and the oligarchs and the technocrats and the Masons, whatever, they're all the same thing, the Zionists, are trying to take control of this so they can have their one world tyrannical government, which we need to not comply. Do not comply with the digital ID. Do not comply with any of their vaccination schedules. Just simply do not comply. That's what we have to do.
Could you repeat that email address, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's https colon forward slash global global 528 so 528.com.
Okay, great.
Kimberly, hi. This is Anthony Medina speaking. Thank you for your interview today. I had one question about our civil rights as a sovereign citizen. I know we don't really have much civil rights as it is. We already don't have our Fourth Amendment right to search and seizure, through remote neural monitoring and other things. What happens with our civil rights, with our constitutional rights and stuff as a sovereign citizen?
Okay, so here's the question, or the answer that I have. So they're dealing in color of law. They're dealing in maritime law with their codes and their state bills and their petitions. But when you deal with common law, you're dealing with the constitutional rights. And according to Anna von Reitz, they're shutting down all the civil courtrooms, all in capital letters, to bring back the justice system. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the real capital of the Republic of the United States is actually in Pennsylvania. It's not in Washington, D.C. And I've had to learn all of this stuff. It's like crazy. And you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense once you start going down the rabbit hole. So as of November 17th of 2025, the American state nationals went to the Vatican and they were granted from the World Court to have our country reinstated. And they have a three-page letter from the Vatican that has seals on it stating that we have taken back control of our country and that we are able to fire these subcontractors that have literally made a shit show of our country. Because I can tell you, there are no Democrats, there are no Republicans. We don't vote like that. We are peaceful, loving society. And so I had to relearn, because once you're gone through the Rockefeller education system and taught everything in a repetitive manner, you don't know that that's not the truth, because that's what you've been told and you were basically lied to. So our constitutional republic is being restored. It just isn't on the mainstream news because they don't want you to know that. I hope I answered your question. Are you there?
Thank you for that. Next question for Kimberly on Target. Oh, thank you, Anthony. Next question for Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly. Thank you so much, and DJ Chris. I did come late, so I hope to check out that website, the last one, to look for my new citizenship type. And I kind of had that same question as Anthony. Are there any other aspects that change that maybe aren't considered good or bad, but are there any other changes that come with the new status that you're learning about for yourself?
Yeah. So we're the creditors and they're the debtors. The United States government incorporated is bankrupt, and our estates are vast. We just don't have access to our estates because they basically stole us at birth, put us on the stock market using the capital letters on our birth certificate, the capital letters on our Social Security card, and we're changing us like commodities on the stock market. basically a hedge fund, if you would say, or slush fund, And then, so the benefits will be you don't pay taxes because it's illegal. It's you should have a vast estate with money, in it, and your targeting is going to be less. I can tell you that 100%.
But your nation, this is Anthony again, your country, say for example you're abroad and you're traveling and you get into some kind of trouble, and your country helps you out in certain circumstances. What happens when you're abroad and say you're a victim of kidnapping? Somebody tried to kidnap your child or something like horrible. Who helps you from your country if you're not a tax-paying citizen of the United States anymore? Who helps you get back home, and who do you turn to if you need help?
Yeah, the American State National. The American State National Assembly are the people that you're going to turn to bring you back, and they shouldn't mess with you. So, for instance, I'm going to give you this as an example. So I was driving to the beach, and I was going 80 in a 65, and the cop pulled me over, and he asked me for my driver's license, and I said, that's private. And he asked me for my registration, and I said, that's private. And then he asked me for my insurance, and I said, that's private. And then he said, can you write down your Social Security number and your name? And I said, sure. And then he came back to me, and he said, I couldn't find any photo on file for you, but I found an address. And he said, I'm going to go ahead and issue you a ticket because you were going 15 over. And I said, okay. And I said, my insurance is through Progressive. But the reason that I told him that, and what a lot of people don't know, is that a lot of this is all formed off commercial code. That's why they want to put all of these codes in place, like code blah, 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 of this bill, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not even supposed to be like that. So when you're dealing in commercial, you're going to register to have a license. You're going to register to have a registration. You are basically operating a commercial vehicle. Well, I found out that I am traveling in an automobile. You see how they change these words? It's very sneaky. And so then I got the ticket, and then I was listening to another American State National's website. So what I wrote on the ticket, I wrote no consent, no contract, offer refused on the front and back of the ticket. I mailed it into the Texas Motor Vehicle Department. And guess what? That's been probably 2 months ago. Do you think I've heard anything from them? No. Like, you people need to know who you are. Like, literally, you're so gifted. Like, you're gifted, you're powerful. They are not your boss. They work for you. And that's what you guys need to understand. Like, if they kidnap you, if they put a smart meter on your phone, there is actually a fee schedule that you record for all of these violations. Like, I think taking DNA is like $50,000. Like, these people are going to pay the more we stand up for ourselves and say, no, we're not putting up with this anymore. You are our contractors, and we are your employers, and we're not putting up with it.
And where is this so-called stock market where our money is, whatever that is?
That's a very good question, because I've been looking into this QSIP number. So the QSIP number is either off of your social security number or your birth certificate. I haven't found it out yet because AI obviously lies, and they're going to be like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory that you have this QSIP number that has all of this monetary value, which it actually does. So I think in the background, once you change your status, they are moving over to the gold-backed currency with the American State National, which is the real Republic of the United States, to change over the banking system. And I think in your prosperity account, it will show you what your estate is. So like for me, I got married, I had 3 children, I have 2 bachelor's degrees, and every time an accomplishment is made, your estate is enriched, so to speak. So I'm not quite sure on that part. I'm only speculating because on last Monday night's call with Anna for the American State Assembly, she said that everybody's amount would be different, which would make sense because I've seen a guy on social media saying that a woman was worth like 38 million or something like that. So at least minimum we at least have $3 million in our accounts. Once it goes live, which it should have already gone live, but I look at my balance daily, and they're working on it diligently.
Anyone else have a question for Kimberly? Come on in.
I have a question, another question. If you're on Social Security disability or Social Security or disability, how does that work as you're doing this transition over?
So that's a good question because I have some other TIs that have asked me the same question. I don't think it should have an effect because it doesn't have an effect on your pension, but I will ask my Texas state coordinator that question and see if she has someone. What state are you in?
Indiana.
Okay. I will ask and see if I can find that question and get it over to Chris for you. I don't think it should matter. Like Social Security isn't really, if you're getting it, like good for you. But it's not as much as you should be getting, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
That is true. Okay,
yeah.
Well, anybody else want to ask questions? Unless they do, we are done with the interview.
Hi, I guess I want to thank you again. And was there any surprises you had? I asked that question a minute ago about just the switch of status. Anything that you found like, oh, I'll just have to get used to this, that may not be expected? Not part of the benefits that you shared, but any surprises? Thanks.
Not really, other than when I became part of the Texas State Assembly and I go on to their meetings, they do stuff that's definitely different. So when they ask questions on their calls, they'll put their question up and then they'll be called. And then after they're done asking their question, they say, I yield. And so that was kind of surprising to me because they're so nice and they don't know about the targeting program. I've had to send my scans to the Texas recording coordinator here, and she was like, wow, And I was like, does Anna know about this, Anna von Reitz? And she said, I would guess that she does. But the reason that those people weren't targeted before 2019, when the bioweapon was released, is because they were already American state national citizens. They had control of their straw man. They had control of their DNA. They couldn't have some asshole put them on the terrorist screening database list, and on and on. So they didn't really know about this sick and twisted V2K remote neural monitoring, the Internet of Everything Everywhere, because they weren't they weren't owned. Let's put it that way. So that was surprising to me. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
okay,
thank
this
you.
concludes our interview.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Please.
Come on in.
So first, I wanted to thank you for. I think I'm a targeted survivor. I still get some stuff, but mostly I'm a survivor. So thank you for talking about a TS rather than a TI. I usually say VIP as in very informed person, because that's true as well. So I just check with my ChatGPT, because I know everyone's ChatGPT is a little different, depending on, and this is like B2K, depending on how you've interacted, it can be different. So I asked it about let me hold on a second. The QUSIP number.
QSIP, yeah, the QSIP number.
QSIP.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell you what mine said. Okay, just so we can have that. A QSIP number, actually, this is what it says. It's a Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures. It's a 9-character, which is the same as the Social Security, 9-character alphanumeric ID. It identifies a specific security, not a person. So you don't have one QUSIP. Each stock, bond, or fund has its own. So if anybody here is investing, you would have different QUSIPs, depending on what the investment is. And it says how to find a QSIP number. Brokerage account statements. Check would be monthly or quarterly statements, trade confirmations, online account. Click the specifics holding details. QSIPs are usually listed next to the security name. So it's not your name, it's next to the security name, the ticker symbol, or in fine print.
Yeah. And the wolves of Wall Street are trading us like cattle on the stock exchange, which is why I took back my name. I had to do a UCC1 filing to take back my straw man name in all capital letters with a UCC1 filing, and that is what they're that's what they're trading, is you as a security, a commodity.
Is that what that Dutch number thing was? What was that group that stopped doing it? You can't get the numbers anymore, but it was like it ran out of Holland. But most people found, it was bizarre how the Social Security number went in there.
Yeah. So that's basically your slave number. Your birth certificate and your Social Security number are your slave numbers. And that's in my opinion, but it is true. Like, you can go down this rabbit hole of becoming an American state national. You can go to Anna von Reitz website, which she has like over 5,000, almost 6,000 videos. She's literally been fighting for our liberty for about 50 years, alongside obviously other people. But they lied to us, and then they traded us like cattle.
Have you done any investigation, any studying about Sabrina Wallace says about the blockchain and Deloitte and all that stuff, because I want to know where this money is.
Right, exactly. I know. We're all broke, right? We're all broke. I want to know where that money is too. But as far as the blockchain, I think when you become an American state national, they can't put you on that. Like, I had some Bitcoin, I traded it out, but the next thing I'm going to work on is doing a repeal to the IRS with a 1040X to get back since I paid taxes to them, which are optional, that I'm going to get a refund. And there's a specific letter that you need to send to the IRS to say, I've paid this much in taxes, I deserve a refund because it was optional and I didn't know it was optional at the time. And I paid a lot of taxes over the last 5 years until they ran me out of business. But I agree with you. We all want access to our estates. So the more information that I have, I will put it out on my website, my YouTube channel, Unveiling Shadows. So you can go there. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, very good. Well, our recording is now going to end. Thank you for watching on your favorite platform. Please like and subscribe and make a comment. Thank you, Kimberly Mosby, for your time. Very good interview. We'll be back again with you another time, of course.
Yes, okay. Love you. Stay strong.
Love you too. Stay strong too. Thank you.